So Jade, thanks for joining us. While we're waiting to resolve some of these issues, what we'd really like to hear from you is your story, because we're looking at how this act can impact families, and
Yeah,
you've had sort of first-hand experience of potentially knowing what that could mean. So we'd like to hear your story, and why this legal challenge is going to be so important.
yes, absolutely. Can I just make sure you can hear me properly?
We can hear you, thank you.
Wonderful. That's the main thing. Yeah, so with me, I have three children with varying needs. I've got one who's got severe ME. I've got a younger boy with complex and a middle child with her own medical needs and mental health. They've got significant school trauma. Um, And in my oldest son's case, it's meant a complete decrease in any chance of a decent quality of life, to the point he often resorts to having to kind of eat in the dark to manage his energy levels. Um, for us, we've unfortunately been faced with multifaceted issues that haven't really been understood or comprehended, and it's caused significant harm to my family. I was actually looking back through some CPOM's data I had for a subject access request the day before yesterday, and one of the things in there was being accused of fabricated and induced illness for reassuring my daughter that it was okay to go into school and try, and that she'd have her healthcare plan to fall back on. But the documentation from that was that although I was supporting her, apparently I was encouraging or inducing her illness instead of using the scaffolding and plan for her, which brings for me more significant concerns, and something I've often faced is a real miscomprehension of what we our voices as parents and what that means when we're trying to advocate for children with needs that aren't really understood. Um, it's been a significant battle for us with my youngest before we removed him and returned to home education again. He was having night terrors. He was waking up shaking. He was on a 2 to 1. His development had completely regressed. His speech had regressed in turn because he realised that he wasn't understood in his communication profile. So the only way he could connect was by regressing to a younger way to communicate. Since taking him out and home educating him for the last year, he's leaped significant developmental um, sort of markers that were once sort of questioned to whether or not he could meet. I really am concerned that the sort of the reduced parental autonomy and what that means for families like ours, which I've been taken to court over the years for advocating for my son's medical needs with ME. I was taken and threatened to prosecute, but the local authority withdrew before taking it into the courtroom. Um, and that was the choice of the solicitor on the day. But we went through a significant amount of stress. We often find that data doesn't link up. You would assume with a child which has such significant needs like my oldest son, there is no community care or access for him, nor can I get it. And we were on a constant cycle of almost basically being accused of um, medically neglecting him, frankly, just to phrase it exactly how it's been, because the services can't connect nor do they understand the importance. The only way my children have learned is through home education, the only way it meets their needs in any way, and the only way my oldest feels like he's got a pathway to adulthood is through this pathway. And for me, when it comes to the current fight that we're all undertaking, it actually does worry me what it will mean for families like mine when I've seen firsthand just how horrific it can get. Um, like you never expect to walk up to school and see your daughter having a panic attack and pulling her hair out and just literally being watched by another staff member because they don't know what to do about it. you don't expect to be forced to carry your children into sleep just to meet an attendance quota. And equally, then they don't even bother to give him the breakfast that's in his lunch and wonder why he's then hungry later in the day. Um, you don't ever expect to be in situations where you find out your 8 year old with complex needs is spending 99% of his time out the classroom. My oldest son, he was registered at a school, a mainstream secondary school for 4 years. He's never ever attended, never set foot in or never seen. And despite that, we had 2 medical tuitions removed on him because of his post-exertional release. Um, and they still kept him enrolled, but then chose not to provide any further provision. So at that point, my son returned back to what he knew, but now he is sat there absolutely terrified that the current trajectory, especially with the CWS Act, is going to strip back everything, and the risk for us is very high. We're very easy to be misinterpreted and flagged up as being a bad family, when in reality we are literally just a family fighting for the most basic needs and the freedom to educate for our children.
Well, that's it's really quite a story, Jade.